Welcome back to another episode of Lighting the Way. I'm your host, Justin Bird. I'd like to welcome the Gift of Hope's Executive Vice President of Governmental Relations and External Affairs, Miss Marion Chuck. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Justin, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Now, not only are you the Vice President of the Governmental Relations and External Affairs, but you're also a board member of the SafeLIGHT Foundation.
Yes, I am. Very proud board member.
Awesome. Well, again, I'm so excited to have you on the show today. First, I'd just like to kind of talk about your involvement with Gift of Hope and what Gift of Hope is for those that don't know.
Absolutely. Gift of Hope Organ and Tissue Donor Network is the organ procurement organization. There are 55 organ procurement organizations in the country. Each one is regionalized. And what they do is we coordinate the organ and tissue donation process. So meaning if you or your loved one experiences a tragic circumstance, we are the ones to come in and talk to you and help you understand the process of donation. If you're registered, then that's called first person authorization. So we help you understand that your loved one signed their organ and tissue donation registration card and they want to be a donor, which is legally binding. On the other hand, if you're not registered, then we have to come in and help you, give you enough information to help you make an informed decision that you may want to help save someone else's life that you don't even know. As you can imagine, it's the worst time of your life. It's a blur, but our staff is trained to be able to help you through that horrible day, and so that's what we do. But then we also are responsible for public and professional education, as well as we support the donor families. So the folks who have said yes to donation, their loved ones have gone on to be a donor, then we take care of them for the rest of their lives, helping them through their grief, helping honor the legacy for their loved ones.
Sure. Incredible. So essentially, the Gift of Hope is saving lives, not just one life.
Right. So our mission is to save and enhance the lives of as many people as possible through organ and tissue donation.
Incredible. And so when a family gets notified or finds out, because let's say I'm married and I don't know my wife is an organ donor. I'm sure that happens sometimes.
Every day.
So I get contact, let's say a loved one passes, you get contacted by the Gift of Hope organization, and you're informed that, you know, your loved one was a donor, and then you and your team will now talk out what's going to happen next.
Yeah, so what really happens is if someone experiences a tragic circumstance, brain death episode, cardiac episode, of course, the hospital will do everything they can to save your loved one's life.
Absolutely.
Only after immense testing to see if there's brain activity, if there's a cardiac episode, same thing, a noxious injury. They do everything they can. They only call Gift of Hope into the hospital when there's an impending death. And then we do what's called a referral, and then we send our folks out to, you know, monitor the case to see if someone is proceeding to death, and then only then do we take a look at what is called their donor registration.
Gotcha.
So we get that information from the Illinois Secretary of State, and that tells us whether they're registered or whether they're not registered.
Understood.
And then Gift of Hope proceeds to have a conversation with that family to, again, if they're registered, then we would tell you, sorry, Mr. Bird, not sorry, but we're sorry for your loss,
Absolutely.
Mr. Bird, but your wife did indicate on her driver's license that she wanted to be an organ and tissue donor.
Got it. And for those that hadn't signed up, then I could give the authority to Gift of Hope to then also be an organ donor.
Yes, that is what we would like.
Got it. Because it's important. Right.
It's important, and a lot of people want someone else to make the decision, but I can tell you as a donor wife, although I worked at Gift of Hope for 16 years, 11 years when my husband passed, that's not a time when you want to have someone make a decision about what happens to you. You want to be able to have that conversation beforehand, like have it now.
Right.
Have it at dinner, have it with your friends, have it with church, wherever you are, whatever you do, and
Sure.
your children. Make sure you're having that conversation with your children, because you never know that something might happen to a parent and then a child or a teenager might have to make that decision. So you want them to be prepared, and you want them to know what your wishes are.
Right. I'm sure not a fun conversation to have, but an
No.
important conversation to have proactively rather than reactively.
Oh, absolutely. I remember when I started working at Gift of Hope, my daughter was 10, and as only a precocious 10-year-old can be. It's Thanksgiving, and I think I worked at Gift of Hope maybe 6 months. So she went around to look at everybody's driver's license and, see who was registered, who wasn't registered. And she saw my husband's license, and she was like, Mommy, did you know Daddy's not registered? And I looked at him. I'm like, Reggie Shuck, do you know what I do all day? How
Right.
could you not be registered? But he said the one thing that everybody says, well, I want you to make the decision.
Got it.
I want you to make the decision, and I can't make that decision because at that moment I'm in grief, right?
Right.
It's a blur. They've just told me that your life is no longer sustainable. So you don't want to put that on anybody. You want them to definitively be able to say yes to organ and tissue donation.
Absolutely. How did you get involved with the Gift of Hope?
Funny story.
Yeah.
Um,
I love funny stories.
A funny story. Someone recommended me to the SafeLIGHT Foundation. It's a little bit after COVID, and I'm on the phone having a conversation with the executive director, Yvonne Davila, and again, my child is home from college, and she walks past our screen, and she's like, Mom, that's Stephanie's mom. I said, Stephanie's mom? I'm like, okay. And she just was insistent. So I'm like, can I ask you a question? And I'm like, do you have a daughter named Stephanie? She's like, well, yes, I do. And then my daughter pops in the screen, and she is funny. Her voice is very distinctive, so she knew it was Yvonne. And so we've been close ever since. I've been on the board, and so we have been sponsoring the SafeLIGHT Foundation's Teen Ambassador Program for the last 3 years. And it is, as an organ procurement organization, we see a lot of teenagers who expire due to car crashes, driving under the influence, texting and driving. And so it's just our way to be able to give back to help educate teens on the importance of safe driving, organ and tissue donation, and how to make a decision. That is very crucial. To me, registering to be an organ and tissue donor is as important as being a voter. It is important as voting, because voting, we can change lives, right? We can change the trajectory of our country, right? Organ tissue donation, you can change the trajectory of someone's life. You can give them a second chance at life.
Yeah. A lot to unpack with that, with everything I think you just said. First and foremost, I thank you and the Gift of Hope for your commitment to the SafeLIGHT Foundation. I know it's a huge impact that the Gift of Hope does with the Teen Ambassador Program specifically. So as another board member, I do really appreciate everything that you and the Gift of Hope does for the Teen Ambassador and the SafeLIGHT Foundation. So thank you first and foremost. It's, I think, really important topic to talk about, the importance of teen safety behind the wheel, not behind the wheel. And I think there is, a lot of similarities between Gift of Hope and the Teen Ambassador Program, which is, I think, important to teach teens how to drive safe, the impacts of driving safe and not driving safe. And then as you become an adult, making that decision, do you want to become an organ donor? And why is it important to make that decision at such a young age? Do you find either it challenging or easier to talk to teens, or or is it harder to get teens to sign up at such a young age?
You know what? So in 2018, we passed legislation for 16 and 17-year-olds to be able to register their decisions to be a donor. It's binding, but the parents have the last say-so because they're not 18. Once they become 18, it becomes legally binding. But until they're 18, the parents can make that final decision.
Understood.
And I will tell you, I've been at Gift of Hope 16 years. It is so much easier to talk to teens they really get it. Young people really get it. This is the most giving group. These like Gen Zs, Gen Ys, Gen Xs, they're very giving. They understand. They've grown up understanding that this world is not just about them, but it's about other people and how to walk in other people's shoes. So they're very giving, and they register. So since inception, there have been about 285,000 teens that have registered already to be organ and tissue donors.
That's incredible. I mean, staggering number. And that's nationwide?
That's just in Illinois.
Just in Illinois.
Just in Illinois.
I mean, that number's so large. I wasn't sure if that was Illinois or...
Just Illinois, yes.
Wow.
We only do donation for 3/4 of Illinois.
Okay.
From the Waukegan border over to the Elgin border down to about 50 miles south of Springfield, and then a couple of counties in northwest Indiana.
Got it. Absolutely incredible stuff. So why is your commitment specifically, or why is your commitment so strong with the SafeLIGHT Foundation?
So as Gift of Hope, obviously, we want to help save and enhance lives, right? And we want to create a legacy. But Gift of Hope is part of a consortium called Donate Life Illinois. And so we are industry partners. So it is made up of the Illinois Secretary of State, the National Kidney Foundation, Eversight Illinois, which is our iBank partner. And so all together, we work very collaboratively to help educate and help people understand how to advocate for themselves.
Got it.
If we can help educate teens on safe driving, on how to take care of themselves, how to help them before they're depressed or anything, their mental health. If we can give them that information, that will help them maybe not get behind the wheel of a car and be impaired. It will help them to say, I need to put my phone in here, and then I need to, whatever's going to happen between now and when I get to where I go, it'll be okay, and I can respond to it then. So it's very important because our young people are our future.
Absolutely. I think the SafeLIGHT Foundation gives an opportunity for teens to talk to other teens that it's okay to say, hey, let's not do this, or hey, put your phone away. It's cool to talk about safe driving, right? And I think sometimes it's easier for teens one-on-one to talk to each other than their parent or their mentor or, you know, a family member is saying, hey, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. And so I think being a board member, I appreciate everything the Gift of Hope does do for the Teen Ambassador program, because I think there's a great opportunity for teens to be able to spread that word. Hey, let's not do this, or hey, this is a great way to continue driving. You know, make that choice to do what's right. And I think kids have so much pressure nowadays from a million different things. I don't think they realize how quickly things can happen when you're behind the wheel or if you're a passenger in the wheel.
You know, it's important to be able to invest, right? We have to be able to invest, and we have to be able to educate. But I will tell you one of a story that really struck me. There was a young woman, she's driving down the street. Some children were playing in a pile of leaves on the street, right? They were playing in leaves. She was texting, I believe, and ran into the pile of leaves.
Oh my gosh.
2 beautiful girls gone. This life is now forever changed. This family's life is forever changed, all because a person was texting and driving, right? So in organ procurement, we see a lot of cases, right? We see a lot of teen drivers. We had a case downstate Illinois. Young woman had gone to prom, had a great time, decided she wanted to go home, early morning hours, fell asleep at the wheel, ran off the side of the car, side of the road. That family, her stepfather, was a coroner, right? And so, you know, for him to, and his fellow partners knew who it was, and then they were like trying to keep him away from the scene. But this is a young girl who had her entire life ahead of her. But just because she didn't stay with her friends, she wanted to go home, sleep in her own bed, she's no longer here. So we have to equip the teens, and that's the thing I like about the SafeLIGHT program when you talk about why are we committed, is because of the education that they do, the commitment that Yvonne has to these kids and to the parents, you know, by having the parents be involved too. Like, you got to commit to this. This is not just your kids showing up
Right.
to do these meetings. You got to commit to this. And so I think that's so important. And so why wouldn't we invest in that?
Yeah. I mean, it's like you said, it's a very impactful organization. And I think it is this team atmosphere, from Yvonne having the parents sign a commitment, the teens sign a commitment, and they take that commitment together, and then they can grow and they can hopefully make an impact not only on their lives, but hopefully for their peers, and hopefully situations like the story that you said of someone making that decision to drive home early in the morning when they shouldn't have. Hopefully those stories become less and less.
Absolutely. And we have the power to change that. But we have to have investment. You know, we have to have SafeLIGHT Foundation to, one, have this incredible program, but then as sponsors, we have to invest in that program to be able to continue to allow that. So I'm very excited that we're able to offer scholarships for kids to go to college. You know, that's important. College is expensive.
Extremely.
And so, you know, people forget that it's not just books and tuition. It is eating, it is incidentals, and so every little bit helps kids. I have a kid, you know, who went to college in New York. Both Yvonne's and my daughter went to NYU. Great school, but it comes at a cost, right? And there's incidentals that come at a cost. There are airline tickets. So, you know, a lot of children don't have that experience or have those resources to be able to go to college. So this scholarship says, one, we invest in you, but two, we believe you're going to go to college and you're going to do great.
Yeah. Well, again, I can't thank you enough. I think it's great to see the Teen Ambassador program continue to grow. I know we've just started our largest Teen Ambassador program.
Yes.
So again, thank you so much for your commitment, for the Gift of Hope's commitment. And also, I just love talking with you and just hearing stories and the impact that you've had in this world. One thing I heard that when I was doing some research about you was, which I want to kind of read really quickly, was you credit your success to talking with people and not at people.
Of course.
And I really admired you for that, and I kind of just wanted to briefly just talk about that. So why do you feel so strongly like that?
Because the example of organ tissue donation. Families are at the worst they're ever going to be on that day, and so there's a lot of information coming to them. There's a lot of clinical information coming to them. Some of these families are lower socioeconomic. Some of these families don't have a medical background. And so sometimes as professionals, we tend to forget that people are not on our level. And so we just throw information at them, right? Even when you go to a car dealer, you know, it used to be that they wouldn't, you know, talk to women because they thought it was over women's head. But when you master the art of, one, active listening, but two, getting to somebody's level, right? Understanding the situation that they're in, understanding who that loved one is, and asking about their loved one, because they're never going to see that person again, right? And so when you talk with people and not at them, you can really understand them. They can understand you, and they can see that you're authentic and that you have empathy for them, right? Because, you know, it's like I went to a funeral one time it was for my aunt, and the pastor said, you know, everybody's in this room. You all are going to be here for a week or 2 weeks. He said, but after 3 weeks, you won't be here. You will have forgotten about the family. You will have gone on about your life. How do you continue to support people? And that's being with them, that's talking with them, that's making sure that you are committed to them in the challenge. And I will say, when my husband died, I never lost, everybody stayed with me. It's 6 years now, but, you know, he was a donor. He was a tissue donor. And, you know, people just, you know, continue to stay with us and support us. And I think that's because you're authentic and people remember that maybe I was that person that listened to them.
I think it's just incredible for you to have that as such an important part of your job because, like you mentioned, you have to be able to cope with them and be there for them and be genuine with it, right? So I think reading that quote I thought was incredible, and I think it's important that, I think it's just great that you do that. So I just wanted to bring that up and just say that was something I thought was really great to read.
I practice it every day. No matter where I go. I was in the airport this morning, and obviously the TSA agents, are put upon. But, I always say good morning. I always say, how are you?
Yeah.
And they're like, thank you. Like
It's
they're
little, right?
Yeah, it's little. The stewardesses, they're like, thank you, because they're just, shepherding people onto the plane. But how many people, think about it, next time you fly, how many people actually say good morning to the stewardesses?
Right. Probably have the headphones in, just
Focus.
wanting to get right to their
Seat.
Their seat. They want to just get onto the flight. Maybe they're mad because they're running late, or they're mad because they have to travel for work, or whatever the case may be. But I think it's very important. Just at the end of the day, we're all people, right? And I think everyone deserves respect. I think that's why I love being a part of the SafeLIGHT Foundation, because it gives you an opportunity to give back to something I personally care about. And so I'm glad our paths crossed, and I can learn from you, because I think you make an incredible impact with your affiliation with the Gift of Hope and the SafeLIGHT Foundation. So
yeah, it's cool. I think that both organizations are mission driven. They're both 501c3s, and so we have a commitment to do good and to support people where they are.
Right.
You have to meet people where they are.
Absolutely. So for those that would like to get involved or support Gift of Hope, how can those at home and those watching our show today get involved?
Yeah, absolutely. You can go to giftofhope.org, www.giftofhope.org. There you can register to be a donor. There you can find a myriad of stories about some of our donors. You can learn about what we do, how we do it. There is professional education, there is public education, there are events, there are volunteer opportunities. We love to have volunteers because I have a great staff, but they can't traverse this entire donation service area that we call. So we need ambassadors to go out into the communities and to help us disseminate the message.
And if I was to sign up as a volunteer, or one of our viewers wanted to, what's the leadway, and what's like the time commitment on something like that?
Yeah, the time commitment is you would have a training. All our trainings are virtual. We have a fantastic supervisor, Julie Gil-Martin. She does the training, and her team. And you do a training. It's about an hour. And then you'll get a list every month of events that we have. And you can sign up and say, yes, I want to do this. Yes, I don't want to do that. I think we have over 40 volunteers scheduled this weekend for our for our Gift of Hope 5K walk run. And so you can do anything. You can do as much or as little as you want.
You put in what you get out.
You put in what you get out. But we have ambassadors that are donor families, that are recipients, that are people who just feel good about organ and tissue donation, or they've had a friend, or they've had an experience with donation, and they want to be volunteers. And so they just want to give back.
Awesome. Well, great. Well, again, can't thank you enough for taking time out of your busy day, because I know or busy schedule, because I know how busy you are. So it was great having you on the show, and I cannot wait to continue to work with you and with the Gift of Hope organization. For those at home, if you're interested in getting involved, please visit giftofhope.org for more information. And Marion, it was a pleasure. Anything you want to close out with?
Yeah, I want to say thank you for the opportunity, because I think it's important that we share resources, but it's really more important. I ask people, if you had an opportunity to save someone's life, would you? 9 times out of 10 people say yes, and so that's what organ and tissue donation does. It saves someone's life, but it also creates a legacy for your loved one.
And I'm just getting chills. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. It's like the impact that you could have when you're not here is just, why wouldn't you want to help someone?
Correct.
Right? Like, at the end of the day, who knows when you're going to need help?
Absolutely.
And so if you have that final option to save a life or lives, not just one,
Yeah.
I think
Organ donation can save up to 8 lives. With organ
Wow.
and tissue donation, you can save and enhance up to 75 lives.
so. No brainer for me, but if you haven't signed up, I strongly recommend it. Save a life.
30 seconds.
Takes 30 seconds. What's your excuse, right? Well, again, thank you so much for joining me.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate it. For those at home, again, if you'd like to visit thegiftofhope.org for more information and to sign up, make that decision. Save a life.
Yeah.
So,
Thank
you so
you.
much. Thank you.